Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a very different video. I've never actually done a I've never actually done a crochet tutorial on my channel, but this is going to be the very first one, so I'm super excited. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this bandana. This looks really big, but I'll show you guys like a picture of what it looks like. Like actually scale to size on somebody's head. This is the yarn that I use. I love this yarn. This is from Hobby Lobby. I actually really do love this texture of yarn. It's really soft. Like with certain projects, I'll use a smaller needle to kind of get that tighter look. But I think with this one, I am going to do 5mm. You'll also need a darning needle, sewing needle, whatever, and then just like a pair of scissors. Pretty much. I believe that's it. I don't want to say it's beginner friendly. It's probably not, because the magic circle is not... it's not really for beginners or very friendly, so I'm gonna kind of do my best to like show you guys exactly how I do it, but I'm not gonna like slow down and show you guys like how to do the stitches and how to do the magic circle. There's lots of videos on YouTube that show you already how to do those things. You need to know the magic circle, double crochet, slip stitch, single crochet, I think. Okay, so we're gonna start off by doing a magic circle. And we're going to chain up 3. Okay. Next we're going to do, make sure it's in focus. Next we're going to do 3 double crochets into this magic circle. I like to hold my finger in there like when I'm chaining. It just kind of helps to form it, but you don't have to. However you do your magic circle is like up to you. But we're going to do 3 double crochets into this magic circle. This first stitch is not going to count as our 3rd double crochet. So go ahead and do 3. 1, 2, 3. So you have 3 double crochets in your chain 3 stitch. You're going to chain up 2. You're going to do 3 more double crochets into this magic circle. Boom. So now you can go ahead and grab that string and pull it snug, so then you have your little triangle. Now it's gonna look weird because this little chain 3 is like just hanging out on the edge, but you'll kind of see why that doesn't count. So we're gonna chain up 3, turn. This is not gonna count as our first double crochet, so we're gonna do 3 double crochets into this little hole, the stitch right here. We're going to chain 1. So after every cluster we chain 1, unless you're in a corner stitch. If you're in a corner stitch, you chain 2 after your first cluster. So now we're going to go in here, that hole there, and we're going to do 3 double crochets. And if anything is confusing or like I'm going too fast, like you can always slow the video down. Like I said, this is not going to be like for beginners in the sense of like knowing how to do the stitches. It's more so for people who know how to crochet but like just want to learn how to make this pattern. So we're going to chain 2 after our first cluster and do 3 more double crochets in that same stitch. So you kind of see it building here. So this is our second corner stitch, second round. Now, chain 1. If you can kind of see where that first chain 3 was right here, and then you see your 3 double crochets, you're going to go in this hole right here. And you're going to do 3 double crochets in there. So it looks like this. Okay. And this is literally, guys, like the pattern. Like I'm going to go through it a couple more times so you see, but it's so simple, like in the sense of you're doing the same thing repeatedly. You're just working and working and working and building until you get the final project. So now here we're going to do 3 double crochets, chain 3, turn, do 3 double crochets into this first stitch, chain 1. Now we're working in clusters, so now we're going to go into this next between cluster here. We're going to do 3 double crochets in that cluster, chain 1, we're back up at the corner stitch, do 3 double crochets, and now since we're at the corner stitch, we need to chain 2 and do 3 more double crochets into that stitch there. Okay, and you can kind of see it's turning into this big old triangle. So then we're going to chain 1, go into this next between cluster, okay, chain 1, and this very last cluster stitch, we're going to go into that very last one right before that chain 3. We're going to do our 3 double crochets there. So we're going to do this. I'm going to do one more row with you, and then I will kind of come back and once I have like most of it completed, and then I'll show you guys how to do the 2 strings on the ends. But I'm going to do this next row with you just so you kind of get the basis of what's going on. But I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory at this point. Like, you're going into each cluster with 3 double crochets. As soon as you get to the top, you're doing chain 2, another 3, and then you're going to keep going. And that's really all it is for however many rows you prefer. So I'm going to do this next row with you, and then I will stop the video, you know, finish working on it, and then show you guys how to do that edge with the 2 little sides. So this is going to be row 1, 2, 3, 4. So for row 4, around, yeah, row 4, chain 3, once again, turn our work. We're going to do 3 double crochets in this first stitch. Chain 1. Next cluster, 3 double crochets. Chain 1. Next cluster here, 3 double crochets. Chain 1, and then now we're back up at the corner stitch. So do our 3 double crochets, and we're going to chain 2 so that we have kind of, you know, that little curved space, and then we're going to do 3 more double crochets into that same cluster stitch. Okay, chain 1, 3 double crochets into this next one, chain 1, 3 double crochets here. See, this is why I feel like this is so, like, it's so easy once if you actually know how to do these stitches. Now it may kind of seem like it's not easy if you don't know how to crochet, but I just feel like I'm repeating myself. But last one here, this last cluster, and 3 double crochets. Continue doing that same thing all the way up until we get 13 rows if you want it to look like mine, or if you just kind of want, you know, however many rows you want, you just keep going until you reach that amount of rows, and then I will be back to show you guys how to do these ends here so that you can tie it to your head. So just continue doing that, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I have done all 13 rows, and it should look just like this. So now that we're at the end here of the next, like, you'd be basically beginning the next row, row 14. Instead of doing that, we're going to chain up 40 right here. So just, this is going to be our first little string that we're going to use to be able to tie the bandana. So after chaining 35, now we're going to work in this chain, and we're going to work in slip stitches. So we're going to slip stitch all the way down to the end until we get to this point here, and I'll show you guys how to connect it, but we're just going to do slip stitches all the way down the chain. You're going to make sure when you're doing the slip stitches that you're pulling pretty tightly, not like super tight, but like don't, like, you know, have it so loose and then you have that like super loose stitch like that, just because it's like not going to look real tightly roped together like it should. Okay, so now we're coming towards the end. So as you can see here, this is the very last chain here. So we're gonna do our last slip stitch into that chain. And now we are coming back here. So now we have our antenna, we have our like piece here. So what we're gonna do is to kind of seal it, we're gonna go into this stitch here and we're just gonna slip stitch into there. And so it's kind of like connected now. Chain up one and we're gonna work in single crochet stitches. This is kind of hard to figure out where you want to put, because it's not like even chains, kind of like this, you know what I mean? It's very much staggered clusters. So what I'm going to do is basically just kind of insert your hook wherever you see like a stitch of some sort. So I'm just going to insert here and then do a single crochet stitch. And then you're literally just going to keep going down this row, do single crochets. And I like to insert mine, so I put my first one in the same spot where I put that slip stitch, and then I'm going to go in this little stitch here, right here. Boom, that's another one. Kind of find your way through this, I guess, like this layer of just randomness, and try to find places to put your needle, but make sure it's like even. Make sure you're not putting like, oh, one down here and one up here and one over there. Like, you want to make sure it's pretty even throughout. So we're going to go ahead and do single crochets down this line here. Okay, so now we're coming towards the end of this next one here. So I'm gonna put my very last single crochet in this area here, and boom. So this is kind of what it looks like. Let me zoom out. This is what it looks like when you finish that. So you have your long little thing here, and then it's gonna look like that. It might like kind of wrinkle up a little bit when you like, you know, first start, but just smooth it out and it'll be just fine. Okay, so now we're at the end and we're coming to the finish line, y'all. So if you're stressing out, I promise it is almost done. So at this very end here, we're literally gonna do the same thing we did over here. So we're gonna chain up 35. Now for me, I feel like I'm gonna go one more single crochet in this one, just because I feel like this is like too, you know what I'm saying, like not on the edge. So I'm gonna do one more. Okay, so I just did one more single crochet there in this last chain, if you guys can see, just so that it kind of would seem more towards the end. I don't know how I explain that, but now we're gonna chain up 35. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, making sure these are even. Up of 35, you're gonna work slip stitch through the whole chain like we did on the other side. Reach the very end and I did the very last slip stitch chain, so this is what our thing looks like now. Go into this very next stitch here, and what makes this easy when you do that row of single crochets, now you have actual like the regular V stitches to go through. So that very first V stitch, slip stitch and chain one. And then we're gonna cut. And then pull that. And this is the final project. The good thing about this is we only have 2 ends to sew in. We have the very first one when we started, like right here, and then we have that one from the end. So I'm gonna take my needle, whatever it is, and to sew in the ends, I basically just kind of find a nice spot to kind of feed it through that won't look weird. So since this one's kind of already going in this direction, I'm just going to continue and just feed the needle through random spots and like hide the end basically. through. Kind of tighten it up, and then if you feel like you need to put more in there, you can. I think that's pretty good, so I'm gonna cut that there. And then the very last end, same thing. We're going to just sew this end into, or like feed it into the work somehow. And then we are officially done. This is the end of the project. So yeah. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful and you found the pattern pretty easy to follow, make sure you give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and let me know what other like types of projects you guys would like to see a tutorial on. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.